had the opportunity to talk to Sheena over Zoom video. Sheena tells us about growing up in Virginia and how she got into music. She talks about performing in her first talent show and how she met her very first producer off Craigslist. Sheena just released a holiday single called Angel on the Tree, and it's dedicated to anyone that is missing someone during the season. You can watch the interview with myself and Sheena on our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Bringing It Backwards, and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Bringing Back Pod.
We'd appreciate your support if you follow and subscribe to our podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're Bringing It Backwards with Sheena. Awesome. Yeah, so the podcast is about your journey in music and how you got to where you are now. I did read born in Virginia. Were you born and raised there?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Woodbridge, Virginia.
Okay. Tell me about that. Like, how did you get into music?
Yeah, so I did my first high school talent show in 9th grade. Before that, I would do like little background singing with my cousins. You know, the holidays, how the family likes to get the kids around. They're going to do it.
Sure. A little Christmas performance.
Yeah, it's like typical thing, especially in the suburbs. But yeah, my family is very like physical and all of that. So they like us to be in athletics. So they have basketball and all these sports. I'm like, guys, I can't even dribble. What are you doing? But I did that. I tried that out. And I was actually on the basketball team all through, like in high school and all of that. So I guess I was okay.
Right. You learned to dribble.
I learned how to do some things, but I was miserable. And I was like, I'm going to prove my truth. So I saw flyers to be in a talent show. And everybody was so confused. Why is she in this talent? And I was very shy. So I used to not tell anybody what I was doing, but I invited everyone. And
oh, wow.
The Rising Star Award. And then I went into choir and all of that stuff and went to music college. So I wasn't talked out of it. I just kept going.
Wow. So that contest really kind of changed the duration of your
100%.
life, really, huh?
Yeah, it really did.
Wow. And that was the first chance that your friends and anyone really kind of knew that you sang?
Yeah, that's when they were like, oh my God, this is not a hobby. So,
yeah. Wow. Okay. And but prior to that 9th grade talent show, where you obviously could sing. So early on as a child, you never really focused too much on that, or was it really a
I did in private. I did in private. So
in private.
It was just like, I collected a lot of vinyls. I would go to the thrift store with my mom and she was just like, okay, whatever, So I got all the vinyls, like Michael Jackson and just Diana Ross, the Beatles, and I would play them on repeat and know all the songs, do the little dancing in the mirror, and got obsessed with it. So yeah, it was a hobby. I always tell people it's a hobby that never died, that turned into like my passion, but it was always my passion for life.
I love that. Well, you went to college, you said, for music.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. How did you get into school?
Yeah, so I went to Howard University and I majored in jazz vocal performance. And I did that for 2 years before my song started getting placed on TV and film.
Wow.
So, yeah, I actually had very bad vocal damage when I was in college. So my professor actually pulled me aside and said, I don't know if you're ever going to be able to continue because your vocal damage is so bad. I got sick one of the years in like one of my first years in college, and I kept singing over it, which gave me bad vocal damage. The nods, a lot of people.
Yeah.
I had that. So that was very devastating. So I started songwriting a lot. And that became one of my really big avenues. And then when I got signed to my sync licensing company, I moved to New York.
Okay. Wow. Well, so you said you were getting placements in TV and film even in college. How did that happen?
Yeah, I linked up with one of my producers, one of my close friends now, Austin Bello. He's in the band Forever the Sickest Kids. And I knew I wanted to work on my own project. So I was just, looking on Twitter and all of this stuff and came across him. And our first project just did a lot of good numbers. I had no idea how to promote myself. It's just like, yay, I have a song out. And he submitted it to a sync licensing company, my first project, and they just took me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then right away that song started getting placed.
Yeah. And then I'm still working with them today, actually, even on voiceover gigs.
Wow, that's amazing. Cool. So with that, well, how did you meet the producer? Just, you said Twitter? Just looking up people on Twitter?
You know what? I actually met him on the weirdest place ever, Craigslist.
Oh, really? How did that happen?
Yeah, because he just moved to Virginia. He's like really a big band. Like I knew his band and everything. So I'm looking on Craigslist, like looking for other songwriters to collab with, that little thing. And he's like, this might be really weird. It's funny knowing him now because he's like, he talks like, dude, yeah, totally. He's like, this might be really freaking weird. But I'm like, my name is Austin Bello. I'm in the band Forever the Sickest Kids. I just moved to Virginia. And I looked him up on Twitter. He's verified when nobody else was verified. He had numbers. I'm like, this is a scam. So I brought my mom with me to meet him and like totally legit. And we just kept working since then and became really close friends. Yeah.
And he, like, after that meeting, you guys started writing together. And is that when that song came about?
Yeah, the one song, and then we just kept working. I think we honestly worked on like at least 3 songs a month together.
Wow.
Yeah, and we'd do like 2-day sessions. So I saw him a lot, always talked to him, and I feel like I became his he became my mentor.
Okay, sure. Yeah. And he's still working with you to this day, huh?
Yeah, and we're friends. Like I help him find other artists to work with because he's he's so established now, especially in Virginia. He's booked for like the year. Everybody wants to work with him.
Work with him. Yeah.
Like, wow, Austin Bello's in Virginia. That's crazy. Yeah, but we're still very close friends, and I talk to him all the time, especially when I need advice. He's the first person I hit up.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, that's rad. Well, were you performing at all, like once you got into college, or were you performing in high school?
Yeah, so I started taking the mega bus to New York in college, and one of my best friends went to school in New York. So she introduced me to all of her friends that were in music. She was in music school for music business, and I was vocal performance. So on my days off, and sometimes on my days on, I would go to New York and perform. So I started making my network out there, and I got so obsessed with it. I just randomly was like, I'm leaving, I'm moving out here, and nobody could tell me no.
Wow.
So I did like, the little like Rockwood and all of these others. And then I started doing Highline Ballroom, and just, I fell in love with the New York City culture.
That's cool. And from there, just putting out more records. Are you signed to a label?
No, I'm actually still independent. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Independent.
And you have the most recent single you put out was Angel on the Tree.
Yes.
And tell me about that song.
Yeah, Angel on the Tree is dedicated to people that we have lost during this really crazy year. And when I wrote that song, I didn't write it with an intention to talk even about that topic, because it's such a hard thing to talk about. 2020 is just really hard to talk about in general. And I've lost a few friends this year, some from COVID, some from personal things that I've gone through. And I was like, I want to write a holiday tune, because I did one like 2 years ago. I was like, well, why not? And these words just came out, and I just felt so emotional while writing it. So that's what it's dedicated towards.
Wow. And so this song was obviously written during the quarantine lockdown and everything, huh?
Yeah. Exactly.
And what about recording it, and how did that all kind of come together? Were you able to do that remotely, or like were you able to go to the studio?
Well, my roommate is a producer.
Oh, that helps.
Luckily, my roommate's a producer. So I remember I busted into the studio, as I always do, because his room is like a studio. I was
that's cool.
I need to show you this song, because I found a YouTube beat and I wrote to it just like a loop. And he was like, I want to produce this song. So he just started working on it, and we finished it in like 2 days.
And that's what Angel on the Tree
Angel
came from there. Yeah, it came from that. Wow.
Exactly.
So what were you up to when that all kind of happened? Were you performing out quite a bit, or did you have like a tour or anything planned, or like what did you have going on right prior to the lockdown happening?
Oh man, as everyone, 2020 plans.
Sure.
I was just on tour in Japan, so I was supposed to do a part 2, and I was So excited. More different cities to go to, like Osaka, obviously Tokyo. So yeah, that was definitely supposed to happen. Just transition to new management, which has been going extremely well. And was just excited,
Yeah.
I had a lot of college shows booked. Just a lot of touring. I love traveling. That's my favorite thing to do, especially when it comes to music, meeting new people. So I fuel off of that energy. And at first I was like, okay, this gig is canceled, whatever, it's rescheduled. But then I just saw all these music venues shutting down, and that just made me sad.
Yeah. Were you on tour? You just got back from Japan, you said?
Yeah, I literally just got back, and I was just doing some shows here and there, and I was supposed to start performing in April.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
And for like the whole year, everything was booked, like festivals,
Oh,
so
that's horrible. Wow. How many you said you toured in Japan? Tell me about other tours. Have you toured the US or mainly outside of the US?
Yeah, I've done the US, mainly the East Coast, just because that's where a lot of my fan base is. Some West Coast stuff in California. I toured in London, which was really fun. Yeah, that was a great experience. Made me want to live there. And Canada.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah.
That's
really I wanted more. I wanted more in 2020.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, making out to Japan and the UK, that's pretty incredible.
Thank you.
Wow. And then so you put out the song. Do you have like another body of work ready, or was that just kind of something that you obviously needed to get out because of what it was about? But did you have an intention to write a record, or what's on now?
Yes, I do. So that song I just needed to get it out there.
Sure.
I had a song before that called Try Another Taste. So I released my projects based on color themes of my mood, of how I feel.
Oh, so cool.
Thank you. My last EP was called Blue Memories, and then my debut album was called Made of Gold. So Made of Gold was like, I started getting all these opportunities and I felt happy. Blue Memories was just like, okay, I was going through like depression. I actually released it during Mental Health Awareness Week.
Oh, wow.
And now I'm feeling kind of mad. Like, not kind of, I am feeling a lot of rage.
Very mad?
A lot of tension going on just because we don't know what life is right now. Like this election, they just have the results, like just everything.
Everything is up in the air.
No. So my next project is going to be The Color Red, and I'm going to be writing some moody pop tunes. So I'm excited on that.
Very cool. So you have the color scheme ready. You just got to
be ready.
Gotta get the music down. They're very cool. Very cool. So with, you said the debut record really opened up doors for you, and how did that happen, and why do you say that?
Yeah, so I had an EP first, and then my album really took it out. So I released an album in 2016. And that I feel like over half of the songs on there got placed on TV and film.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't know, okay, yeah, you get a placement. It may not pay amazing. People think like, wow, my song's in the show, you're rich. Like, no,
yeah, right.
No, you're splitting it with all these people, but it's still a great opportunity. I just get excited to hear my song.
Sure.
But that helps my Spotify and my Shazam, my Apple Music. So people find me from listening to, maybe their favorite series, and they're like, I like this song. So that really helped me. People were tweeting me, hey, I heard your song on Miss Stevens. Hey, I heard your song on the Bad Girls Club. I'm like, what? This is wild.
Wow. I love the Bad Girls Club. That's awesome. You got a placement in that show.
Yes, exactly. So it was amazing. I love the scene. And yeah, it's just really wild to just wake up and my numbers there. Like I had maybe 2,000 followers on Instagram. Like I'm always so behind on every social media platform. Like people are on Instagram. I'm like MySpace, Facebook.
You're still on MySpace. People are on Instagram.
Like I'm just always so behind on what's going on. I'm trying to get it together now.
Why hasn't anybody responded to my MySpace message I sent?
Why am I not in my top 8 anymore? So I just kept seeing my Instagram numbers going crazy. It was like 2,000, then it was like 5,000, 7,000. I was like, what? Who's doing this? It was just all because of these people finding me on like, then I went into the Discover Weekly algorithm.
Wow.
And yeah, those placements changed my life. That's what changed my life right there. And it's just so bizarre.
I know, it's crazy. I was just talking to somebody else about this, where like now like labels and other industry personnel can kind of see in real time exactly how well you're doing. Like it's not, you can't just, you're not a developing artist that they're going to be like, all right, we can see you doing something huge for us. It's like you already have to be doing something huge for them to even come knock on your door anymore.
Yo, that exactly. And that actually happened. I was getting approached by labels at that time, and I was just so young and so naive that I was just like, what is going on? Like my producer was acting as my manager then, basically. Like, look, let me read the contracts. And it was just weird. But it was great.
I can imagine that being very like overwhelming, because then it's, do I sign with these people? Like, because it's almost like, if you don't do it, are you gonna like, is this the one opportunity you're gonna have? And if you pass it up, is that it? Like, I can't. And with all that, with all the people not attacking you, but being like, hey, like interested all at one time, I can see that being like kind of like,
Exactly. And I've seen a lot of my industry friends get shelved before by labels. Not saying that every label does that, but it's a gamble. You got to make sure you do the right thing.
Right.
The contract. So
yeah,
I think I'm ready now. Back then, I feel like I was kind of like an airhead. And just new, just too fresh.
But you have the fan base. You know what I mean? You're one of the people that they're going to seek out and be like, oh, she's already got X amount of Instagram followers and this many streams. Like, so people are already interested in her. So let's kind of give her a push. As to where it's not like they go on your Spotify like, oh, this girl has an incredible voice. Yeah, she has 30 plays, but you know, we know that she's gonna be, you know, huge. I don't feel like those days are around anymore. You know what I mean? It's kind of bizarre. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Sheena, for talking with me today. I really, really appreciate your time.
No, thank you so much. Seriously.
Yeah. How have you been like promoting your music? Like, is it obviously you were touring a lot, you're going to go to Japan and then you can't go anywhere. Have you been doing like the live streams? And if so, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, so I've done a few live streams. I partnered with, like, I've done Instagram takeovers, and
oh, cool.
I was doing the Instagram live just by myself at first, and then I saw everyone was on live, including like my cousins that don't do anything. I was like,
right.
Too much. I can't.
Grandma's on there.
Yeah, my mom's trying to figure it out. So I started partnering with, I guess, other bigger sites. Just to get more momentum, and my Facebook Live was doing awesome, so that was cool. Now I'm not gonna lie, I'm not 100% over it. I'm just ready to get back into the groove of live shows, so I'm seeing some things starting to open up a little bit, which is exciting me, you know, social distanced, of course, but yeah, it's not all that bad. I feel like if it's for a good cause, I'm gonna do it. So like I'm doing a holiday one for a charity next week.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I'm going to continue doing that. As long as it makes sense, that's when I'll do it, but not just randomly.
Not just randomly. Is it when you're doing it, it's kind of, I would imagine it's kind of strange because you're not getting anything back as far as like the audience. So you can't vibe off them because it's like, I mean, you could probably, you could look at your phone and see that you have like, 10,000 people watching or whatever, but I'm sure it doesn't translate the same way.
No,
I'm playing to 10,000 people at a show.
I'm such a people person. So when I'm performing, usually, you get your applause or you're just like, thank you, everybody. And I see myself still talking in that voice online. I'm like, I'm so weird. And they're at the computer laying in bed, like, why?
Yeah. And it's like, you're done. And then you're not getting the applause or the, like, you're like the validation that the song was any good or like they could hear you,
Exactly. Yeah, it's odd. So I do it once in a blue moon, and I try to make sure as many people tune in as possible, so I'm less awkward.
That's cool. Yeah, what a wild world we're in right now.
So wild.
Well, Sheena, thank you again so much for doing this. I have one more question for you. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
Yes, of course. I always tell people, don't compare yourself to others. do you, and stay true to who you are and don't let other people take